Alright you guys, today we're down in my basement. You can probably tell, but I've been getting a ton of questions over the couple years of me being on YouTube, but a ton recently about how I store food and how I keep it fresh, how I keep things from going bad, and I figured I would just make a whole video dedicated to that. So I'm gonna bring you guys through a couple parts of my basement. I'm gonna show you guys my freezers, my storage shelf, how I keep animals from getting into them, like ants, mice, rats, whatever you have in your area. Everybody's different. I live in farm country, so I have a lot of field mice that like to make my basement home in the winter. Thankfully we haven't had a huge issue with that this year, but I'm showing you guys how we take care of pests and things like that from getting in our food, how we store things, how we keep things from going fresh. Now, total disclaimer, this is not going to be fresh fruits and vegetables. I'm not a magician. Fresh fruit and vegetables and stuff are gonna go bad. I would just look up the best way to store a specific item, like apples, where they keep fresh the longest. Just Google it and do whatever Google tells you. Some things last better in the fridge, some things don't. I would just go with whatever it says. I'm not a wizard, so these are just how I keep things from going bad, how I keep animals from getting in, things like that. So I have two chest freezers here. Both of these we got on a huge bargain. I have a video down below where I can link that I talk more about these freezers. However, we freeze pretty much everything. I do want to do a separate video just on my freezer, what's in my freezers and what you can freeze. I was gonna film that today, but I decided to put that on hold, so that video will be coming probably in the next week or two. However, I freeze bread, cheese, all of those things. So let's just take a quick glimpse in here. I'll show you guys a couple things. Like these are full loaves of bread, just straight up loaves of bread. I also freeze butter and cream cheese. Here's string cheese. I just freeze them right in the package. These are little sausage like salamis. They're pre-sliced. I freeze these as well. So I freeze pretty much everything. I will have that video coming soon on a full tour, so I don't want to go full in depth in these, but I freeze just about everything. I also have breadcrumbs in here that I freeze. We'll also link, oh, empty box, okay, real life. I will also link down below how I prep meat for my freezer. I just filmed a video on that, how I buy bulk meat and prep it for meal-sized packages. So I'll link that down below. So what I have in some bags down here, these are actually berries from last summer. We go berry picking every year to make homemade jam and stuff, jam, jelly, but these are whole berries that we have in here. And we'll pull these out and throw them in smoothies or on top of cheesecake, or my kids like to just eat them frozen. So we also freeze fresh berries in the summertime when you go to the berry field or whatever, like the strawberry patch. You can freeze them. If you picked too many, you can't eat through them fast enough, just throw them in a Ziploc and freeze them. So utilize your freezers, whatever space you have. Obviously the more space you have, the more you're gonna be able to freeze. So that's kind of all up to you and what you can afford to buy and in bulk and freeze, and then what you have the ability to store. So we have these two chest freezers down in their basement, but I'm going to bring you over to where the real storage is, over on the other side. Okay, so lighting over here isn't gonna be as fantastic. Like I said, we're in a basement, so bear with me. But behind me, you guys are gonna see my food shelf. So another huge way we keep things, I would say, fresh without using our freezer is by canning. Some of these came out of our garden. These are all carrots, but if you don't have the ability to grow your own food, maybe you don't have time to do it, or you don't have the space to do it, whatever it is, see if you have farms near you or like farmers markets. We grew these carrots in our garden, but we only grew so many because we had never grown carrots before and we were testing them. So then all of these carrots here that you guys see, I think I have like 50 quarts of carrots. I actually went to a local farmer and bought 20 pounds of carrots for like $6, and then I came home and canned them. So you can definitely look into doing something like that. So we have, here are minced carrots, and I use these to throw in spaghetti sauce to get my kids to eat more vegetables. So that's what I use these for. This row here is celery and carrots. I use these as a soup base. And then of course, way in the back here, you guys can see, oh, here's one. We have jars of pickles. The pickles actually came out of my mother-in-law's garden, and then I pickled them myself. So she grew them. I went down to her house and picked them with the kids, and she showed me how to can these because I had never canned pickles before. So I have like 50 some quarts of pickles as well. And of course, this is also my food storage, so you guys are going to get a little bit of everything. However, how I manage this shelf is we keep like household products up there. So extra toilet paper, there's a big thing of oil, paper plates will go up here, trash bags, extra household stuff. So here's where we keep mostly canned items, and of course things like this you don't have to worry about, like animals getting into or something like that. They can't obviously get through your can. So we leave these out to the open. These are just things that we use on the regular. These are what we're referring to as mystery cans because our kids ripped the packaging off of it. So got a couple mystery cans going on. Of course, spaghetti sauce, tomato juice, just things that we use on the regular. We have a couple more canned items, things that we just use on the regular. Okay, I also got some big things of pasta sauce during the pandemic to make sure we had enough. Like things, this stuff you don't have to worry about storing so much because they're gonna last pretty much forever. Back here I have some more stuff that I canned. Those are tomatoes and peppers from the garden. I use those for chilies. And then back here I have a couple cans of just tomatoes, and I can make homemade spaghetti sauce and stuff out of those for that. I also had a couple cans of salsa that I canned, but we went through all those already. So anything that's in a jar, a can, you don't really have to worry about animals getting into it too much. You can just store them as is wherever you have space. I keep pretty much all my food down here on this shelf because I just don't have space in my kitchen. We have a pretty tiny kitchen. Here is how we keep animals from getting into our boxed foods. We just ran out of space. That's why those are outside of these. But these are just regular storage containers. These are 18 gallons. And I'll just pull this off the shelf here. In these boxes or in these totes, we keep things that if an animal were to get into, like I said, personally, we deal with mice. So whatever a mouse could eat through, we keep in these totes just as an extra layer of protection. So obviously noodles, we keep a lot of noodles in here because those tend to come in bags or boxes. However, we also keep extra rice in here. We have a handful of like easy dinners, some boxed dinners. These Velveeta skillets are our favorite. Hamburger helpers, but we also keep snacks in here, okay? And doing it like this is a lot cheaper than buying like glass jars for everything. So that's why we do it this way. We also keep snacks, like I said, so we've got fruit snacks in here. We also keep baking supplies, so we've got like leftover things from Christmas. We were making Christmas cookies and candies, so I've got walnuts, some chocolate chips, extra things of brown sugar. I've got caramels and coconut, so kind of whatever. There's not really a rhyme or reason. We just threw everything in here. It's not organized by any means at all. We also keep some yeast in here, and you can keep these in your freezer actually, so I'm gonna hang on to these and move them over to my freezer. But pancake mix, pretty much everything that's boxed. I'm sure you guys get the idea. I've got some of these Knorr sides in here. Anything that a mouse could eat through, I keep in these totes. And we bought these totes just after Christmas, or just before Christmas. It was just before Christmas. So that's when all these things are like on sale because everyone's trying to put away Christmas decorations and whatnot. So that's in the first bin. Now we have bin number 2. Just to give you guys a little idea of what you can store. So we've got like boxed soups. We have pizza crusts. fruits in here as well. Big box of goldfish, and then this whole stack right here is all different noodles. So I have like lasagna noodles, spaghetti noodles, pretty much everything that you would ever need is in here basically. So it's pretty much just all of the same. So then just to keep the mice out of here, I just make sure that every time I come down here, I'm closing these sealed like really well before I put them back up on the shelf. So just to recap really quickly, how I keep things from going bad is whatever I have room to freeze, I'll freeze. We can a lot. So carrots and celery, tomatoes, peppers, you can do green beans, whatever. You can literally anything, and it doesn't have to be something that you grow. So if you're at the grocery store and there's like a killer deal on green beans, or at the summer you're at a farmer's market or whatever, buy it from somebody else, go home and can it. That saves a lot of room in your freezer in the long run, and they're really shelf stable obviously, so these will last a really long time. We also do our own sauerkraut, a ton of different things. So I think I have a couple canning videos on my channel. I'll link them down below. I know I have one where I canned these carrots. I'm gonna bring you guys upstairs to my pantry and show you guys what I keep in my pantry, and then I'll show you probably the drawer in my fridge where I keep my fruit and vegetables, and show you guys how I do my best to keep those from going bad, or how I keep them fresh. Straighten anything up before I show you guys this, so it's gonna be a little real. How we do another like couple tips and tricks how we keep things from going bad or being overlooked. The first one is our bread basket. So this is just an old Easter basket for our girls, and we reuse this into a bread basket. We keep all bread products in here, so we have some of these non-breads, of course, typical bread items like bread, bagels. We also keep tortillas in here. This is where we'll also keep hot dog buns, burger buns, but we keep everything up in here because it keeps things from getting lost. I think we all have moments where like I swear I already had an open loaf of bread, but like you're looking in your pantry and you can't find the loaf of bread anywhere. So then you go downstairs, you pull one out of your freezer, and then like the next day you find that loaf of bread. So now you have 2 loaves of bread. You can't eat through it fast enough, one of them goes bad. So this helps to prevent that, just having something in place for that. And of course everyone's gonna have different struggles and different things that go bad, so that was a solution for us. Another thing we do, turn you guys back around, we also try to keep things pretty like typically organized. The only reason these candies are up here so the kids can't just eat them all, but we try to keep our starches up here, so like rice, a couple boxes of noodles we keep up here at all times. Otherwise everything else is downstairs on the shelf that you guys already saw. This is the gray area, right? So we have some sandwich stuff over here, like kind of random stuff. The kids made cookies, so we've got a bag of cookies in here. These should actually be down there, and that, holy schmolies. Okay, so this is where we keep snacky stuff. Basically this whole pantry is just that one shelf of starches, and everything else is typically just snacks, because that's what we access most throughout the day with having 3 small children. So this is where we keep chips and stuff, but this basket is also where we keep oatmeal. That way when my husband packs his lunch, he can just grab the oatmeal and throw it in his bag. I've had this same basket in my pantry, I think since I was 18 years old, and this has pretty much always held onions and potatoes. You're technically not supposed to hold onions and potatoes in the same container, but we go through ours so fast it doesn't matter. So how I keep things from going bad is obviously I put them in this basket. So these are last month's potatoes, and you can see they're starting to look a little rough, but when I went grocery shopping I bought another bag of potatoes. I put them down here, and I did not dump them in that basket because I want to make sure I go through all of those before I dump in my new bag of potatoes. These potatoes have honestly been in this bin for I think 2 months, and I'll just look through this, make sure that there's nothing rotten, and if there is something rotting I will throw it away to keep it from contaminating everything else. It happens every once in a while, but that's another way I keep things from going bad, is just keeping things in categories, and then I try to keep things as separate as possible, my new stuff from my old stuff. So I won't dump these in that bin until all of those potatoes are gone, or until they're so bad I need to throw them away. We do also have 10 laying hens, so we have 10 chickens. If my potatoes are starting to look kind of but they're still good, they're not like moldy or rotting or anything like that, if I only have a couple potatoes left, I'll just take them and feed them to my chickens, and then I'll dump in my new sack of potatoes. So we basically don't waste anything. If we personally don't eat it, our chickens get it, and then it's a little bit of a circle of life. Obviously the chickens fertilize, we keep that fertilizer, and we will till that into our garden in the spring and use it as fertilizer for our next batch of like potatoes that we're gonna grow or whatever. So we pretty much use everything around here. Kids snacks, obviously those don't get wasted. Your kids eat through pretty much everything, but that's another bin for kids snacks, just to keep everything separate. People talk to me about how to avoid food waste and how I keep things from going bad. I'm assuming most of the time they're talking about fresh fruits and vegetables, and basically it's pretty straightforward. If I buy fruit or vegetables that go bad quickly, like berries, we're gonna eat those berries first, and we're gonna leave the apples and oranges for later, because those typically last a lot better than berries do. So taking you guys into my freezer in my kitchen, we do buy fresh berries, but typically we only buy one container, and once they're gone, they're gone. But we do buy a ton of frozen vegetable, or we do buy a ton of frozen fruit, and my kids prefer it anyways. It's kind of like a popsicle for them, but it's fruit, so it's better for them than a popsicle anyways. But we buy frozen blueberries. Our kids love these. We've got a big 4-pound bag of frozen strawberries right here. So if your kids don't mind, or you personally don't mind frozen fruit, buy the frozen fruit over the fresh. It's gonna be cheaper in the long run anyways, and of course it's gonna last longer because it's frozen. Moving into my fridge. So me and my husband actually went grocery shopping together this month, which rarely happens. He was pushing a cart, I was pushing a cart. We accidentally bought 2 bags of grapes. So we've been pushing grapes a lot on our kids. They're pretty much almost gone, but this is another thing. Grapes go bad faster than other fruit, so we've been pushing the grapes. But you can also freeze grapes, and I've heard that some people like them frozen. I've personally never done that. This is one of those things where even if it's frozen, we're not gonna eat it, so it's just gonna take up space in my freezer, and it's gonna be wasted anyways. So what I could do is, I guess technically I could put it in my freezer and feed it to my chickens in the summer on a really hot day, or I'll just bring these out as is and give them to my chickens now, which is most likely what I would do, is just feed them to my chickens. I think another reason I'm able to move through fruits and vegetables so fast and I rarely have waste is because I have a rule in our house that's basically, if you want a snack, your first option is always going to be a string cheese, a Go-Gurt, a piece of fruit, or a vegetable. After you have one of those, if you're still hungry, then we move on to other snacks. So basically those items I just listed, those are always, yes, if you're hungry, you do not have to ask. Go ahead, grab one of those items, but if you want something else, you have to ask. So that helps me move through fruit and vegetables pretty quickly as well. So we rarely have waste. So that's why you see this drawer the way it looks, how it is. Okay, these shouldn't be in here, but this is a drawer. Okay, real life, kids, hi. But we keep Go-Gurts in here, oranges, I think we're all out of string cheese, but we keep these here for the kids. This is basically the kids' snack drawer. We buy whole fruits and vegetables whenever possible. They're just gonna last longer. It kind of is how it is. Carrots last forever, so I always buy, this is like a big bag. I don't know how many is in here. How big is this? This is a 5-pound bag of carrots. This will last us probably a month. My kids like it when I peel these and cut them into sticks, and they'll eat them just like that. So, okay, here's a prime example. I bought this cauliflower head. I didn't use it fast enough. it's starting to get kind of gross. So this is a prime example. I'm not perfect. This whole thing will probably just go to my chickens. It sucks, but I just didn't use it fast enough, and I know better. When I buy a whole head of cauliflower, or I also have a whole thing of broccoli here, I know that I need to use these pretty much within the first 2 weeks of the month, otherwise they're gonna go bad. My broccoli still looks good, so I'm gonna make sure I use this. But I will always use my fresh stuff first before I use any of my frozen vegetables to keep them from going bad. But I'm not perfect, so I'm gonna set that aside. If you buy whole peppers versus the ones that are already pre-chopped, they're gonna last longer. It's just how it works. We try to store all of our vegetables together and all of our fruit together. It keeps them from going bad. I don't know why. It's just what works for us personally. Of course, we also have some stuff up here. I keep romaine hearts. These last forever. So there are just some things that last longer than other things do. My romaine hearts will last all month long. But if I buy like a whole head of lettuce, that lasts pretty well too, but it does not last as long as my romaine hearts do. Shredded lettuce is gonna last like 2 days in your fridge. Seriously, don't buy those bags of shredded lettuce and expect it to last you all month. It's just not gonna work. So I guess that would be my next tip, is to buy whole fruits and vegetables. Don't buy like those watermelons that are cut in half. They're just not gonna last as long. So eat up the fruits and vegetables that are gonna go bad first, and then move on to those ones that last forever, or just don't buy as much of it. That's why I said we only buy like 1 container of berries, because we just wouldn't go through it fast enough and it would go bad. So those are kind of all my tips on how I keep food from going bad. That's how we eat through all of our food, how we store it, how we keep pests and animals from getting in our food as well. So I hope this was somewhat helpful for you. I felt like I rambled a lot, but maybe not, I don't know. Make sure you subscribe. I will link down below in my playlist for how I grocery shop, how you can save money on your grocery bill, all that stuff. Make sure you're subscribed if you like this video and you want to see more stuff like this. Give it a thumbs up. That helps me know what you guys are interested in, what videos I should make next. And of course, I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.
I don't wanna stay here, no. Ain't gonna keep it low now. If you wanna go, let's go. Let's wrap it up and hit the road. I just got an awesome vibe. Striking the winner post now. Liberty's on my mind. We've taken off, we've left the ground. You gotta understand.